Pastor.
Good morning, Kim. How are you this morning?
Pretty good. How are you?
Oh, I'm peachy.
Oh,
There you
that's
go.
good. Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good morning. Yep, welcome to this episode number 5 of The Pastor and the Hopeful Deacon.
Yes. So we have some good news. We have some people who subscribe to our channel already on YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
know. We have a lot of people who watched the first episode. So hopefully they liked it enough that they're going to return to watch our second episode and continue.
Yes. So we are recording. So as we said, this is episode 5 we're recording, and episode 2 was just released yesterday.
Yes.
So we're a little bit ahead here for that, but we'd rather have that buffer just to make sure.
Yes.
So
especially since you're going to be going on vacation soon. So
yes, looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. But
yeah.
Anyway, you had a busy weekend.
Yes, you did too. We were at the Northeast PA Synod Assembly.
Yes, we were. We were up at Split Rock Resort up north there in Lake Harmony. Yep.
And it was a 3-day event. Well, 2.5. Well, basically almost 2 full days if you think about it.
True. Yes.
But it was
over 3 days.
Over
3-day period.
Yep.
So it was Thursday evening, all day Friday. All day Friday, and then Saturday morning. Into the afternoon.
Yep. And the reason why it was that long is because we elected a bishop.
Correct. Yes. Every 6 years we have a bishop election in our synod, and this was the 6th year here for us.
Yeah.
So
this is the 3rd one that I have attended.
Third Synod Assembly.
Yeah, Third Synod Assembly.
Okay.
I have to say, like, this one here was grueling. I don't even think that's the right word, right? But it was much more intense than the other 2 I had been to the 2 prior years.
Yes. Oh, yes. Bishop selection always brings in another level to it when you're involved with that. This was the 3rd Synod Assembly I've attended with a bishop's election.
Wow.
So yes, they are exciting. They're very neat to be a part of.
Yes. Yes. You can completely feel the Holy Spirit working and how it brings people's feelings out.
Yes. Things that people are passionate about, the ministries they think are important, what characteristics or qualities they believe the bishop should have in leading the synod, and that. So it's it is I don't know if grueling is really that far off, because it wears you down. It wears you down, but it is also uplifting spiritually as well, I feel. So I think it's a both and within there. So.
Right, because there's a lot of things that I would like once I become a licensed minister, and I can start it now. Yes, I know, but when I become a licensed minister, and also deacon, the things that I want to bring to the table, and I pray a lot about those. And then at the Synod Assembly, you hear people who are already doing that ministry, and it's just another affirmation. Like, yes, Kim, this is good. You actually have somebody that you can talk to say, hey, this is what I want to do. You're doing it. How did you go about doing it? So
the networking, I think, is one of the biggest things of the Synod Assembly.
Yes.
Just getting connected with others throughout the Synod. And like you said, hearing about what they are doing. Oh, wow. Or sharing what it is that we are doing.
Yes.
And giving some insights there for others. So it's a really neat experience just for that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
it was powerful. Very powerful.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't mind exploring a little bit, like your experience, what it was like for you on your end, going through that process for electing the bishop, and not just that part there, not even just the bishop, but just everything else. Like you said, it was so different. Are there any specifics or things you could be sharing with us that you went through?
Oh, yeah. And, there's so many times where I knew who I wanted, and then, they say something, you're like, ooh, like that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So
So, well,
then in the end, you just completely
mhm.
change. And then it's like,
Well, I voted for 3 different people throughout that process
yes, me
as I was
too.
going. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was as it evolved and going through. So, well, should we share a little bit about the process and how we
Yes.
went through?
Yes.
So Thursday night, everybody arrives there. We have 235 congregations in our synod. And so you have representatives, delegates, pastors, lay ministers from all around the synod coming together for this.
Yes.
I believe the high number that I heard for registrations was around 360.
No, 380.
380.
Yes.
Okay. So 380 people registered for the event. And the first ballot on that Thursday night was you just write down the name of any ordained minister of Word and Sacrament in the ELCA that you think could fit that role of bishop. So there were a lot of names.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Not only that. So on the form too. So going in, you kind of know like, all right, this is who I'm going to vote for. This is what I'm thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go in and they're like, oh, well, in order for your ballot to be valid, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the correct name. You have to have where they're from, their church that they serve.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute, like I didn't know any of that. So let me look this up real quick.
You saw so many people pulling their phones out and like looking like, oh my goodness, where is this person? You know,
yeah.
Let me make sure, and spelling, make sure you get spelling as close as possible with this.
Yeah, so, because it was all, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know how to do all this stuff.
Yeah. And it was a miracle of miracles. Every single ballot was valid.
Yes.
So they were all valid. But we had a list of names. I didn't even count how many were in there. There were many names.
Yeah, because I would say there's probably about 20, if not more, that received one vote.
Probably.
That first night.
Yes.
And they stay on that ballot as long as
they allow their name
to.
Yeah. So if your name is on that ballot, you're contacted by those who are running the election, and they let you know, hey, you have been nominated. Would you like to leave your name on there on that ballot? Right. So, yes.
But there was an interesting twist on Thursday night.
Yes.
Because a few people came up after they showed everybody who was on the ballot, mm-hmm. and they said, listen, I don't see this name.
Yeah.
And I don't see that name.
Right. I put Sue's name on here, and she is not on that list. What happened here with that?
Yeah.
So they had to go back and recount every single ballot.
Yeah. And it's not like it takes 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, no. That was a process.
It's like when we got there, they did it right away. We didn't leave until 8:00, and we pretty much got that right after.
Exactly.
Right? So it was like two hours at least.
Something like that until they shared the announcements there.
Yeah. So then more people were contacted later that night once they figured
and there were emails
out.
that were sent out as well. Just any form of contact they had for each individual. They were trying to reach out to them, touch base with them and see. But by Saturday morning, each person who was nominated had the opportunity to remove their name by 8:00 Friday morning, to remove their name. And lo and behold, by Friday morning, there were only 11 people left on that ballot, which blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I thought there would be more than that on there.
Yes.
So,
I thought you're like, wow. And then you go in, we have prayer. They get you, centered, and they pass the
paper
ballot.
ballots out with a list of all of those who were on there, the 11 people who remained on that ballot. Yeah. And you had to circle one. Do not X or cross out.
You had to make the circle to make sure they knew who you were voting for.
Correct. Yes.
And again, all of the votes were valid.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed, though, that there were times where not everybody was voting. Because like Saturday we had, Thursday night we had 380. And then there wasn't quite as many as on Friday morning. There was like maybe 345 or something like that, but not all 345 people voted. Why is that?
I don't know. What could happen, they have registrations of people registering, and they may have that registration there, but maybe the person hadn't arrived yet. So that's one possibility. Or maybe somebody had to leave for a funeral, which I had.
I wonder who that would have been.
Yes. I had to leave Saturday morning for a funeral after that first vote. So I drove up, voted, and then came to a funeral.
Right.
And went back up. But people have different things. Maybe somebody slept in or breakfast didn't agree with them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I just found that to be interesting because you saw that quite a bit throughout the whole, the whole 3 days that we were there.
Right.
It's that, you have this many of people who were registered, but not everybody is voting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, and that to be interesting. And then somebody said, well, no, they're just holding their vote to the last. And I'm like, why would you hold your vote? Like, that's so stupid. That didn't even make any sense.
I don't quite comprehend that either, but yes. Yeah. I don't want to be a part of that whole process the whole way through. But yes, so we had those 11. And then, so that was the second ballot that we had there. So you had those 11 and you choose. And from the results of that, they took the top seven from there. And then those 7 had paperwork to fill out and had to agree to background checks and everything else with that. And then had to get up in front of the assembly and give a 3-minute speech of, here, this is who I am, this is what I believe, and share that with you.
So, when they're doing that, there's things that I wrote down that I liked about each person.
Neat. Okay.
And things that, they have said where it's like, don't like that. This is why you're doing it. So already on the third time that we were about to vote, the name that I had voted for before was already crossed off.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because they had an agenda, and I'm like, that doesn't sit right with me.
And you could hear that in their 3-minute presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it kind of like that bothered me a lot because we are there to do God's work, and they were not. It was not a good thing. And then there was other ones where you're like, oh yeah, I like that. Ooh, yeah, I like that. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. No. It was neat to hear what each person was saying there, and that each person took a different approach.
Yes.
That I heard mentioned as well. Everyone had a different way of approaching those 3 minutes and using those 3 minutes there. So for me, that kind of gives insight into somebody as well on how they're using that time to present who they are and what's important to them.
Right.
So,
and I don't think, you tell like everybody thought about it, but they didn't have a written speech or anything. It was like, okay, I'm just going to let the Spirit guide me, and this is what I'm going to say.
Right.
And this is why you should elect me.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool because I probably would have had a speech written. And I would have like, okay, just in case I forget something, here we go.
Right. Yeah. No. So you had that. And then after that 3-minute presentation, then there were breakout sessions.
Yes.
So we have 9 mission districts in our synod, in Northeastern Pennsylvania Synod. And so they broke those 9 mission districts up into 3 groups. So 3 mission districts in each group. Put them in different areas throughout the facility there.
Right.
And then the candidates rotated around to those 3 groups and had a Q&A, a 15-minute Q&A with each group. So, and each group could approach that Q&A however they felt was the best. So I know two of the groups approach it. Well, I should say, let me start off back up here. There was one group that they gave 5 questions to each candidate, and that was it. You're done. And you're out of there then after that, no matter how much time you spent.
Oh, wow.
Even if it was early, you're done at that point after those 5, and that was it. Another group, they had questions that were presented to the deans of each mission district. They were the ones who were running the meetings. The deans had received these questions, and they could pick out which ones they wanted to use and structure it however they wanted. So that first group of deans, they gave you 5 questions, and that was it. The second group, they just used those questions and went through the entire time, just question after question, and as many as you, if depending upon the length of the answer, that's how many questions a person could answer. And then the third group,
which probably was
was your group.
Yes.
Yep, they had 5 questions that they asked, and then it opened up to the floor.
Yeah.
Yep, for anybody to ask questions that was in there. Yeah.
And then it was funny because the one pastor in our group, he asked the same question to
all 3.
Yeah,
all 3, but
all 7.
All 7.
I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, so we heard it all over. We're like, here we go with this question.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, for him, it was a concern. So he did want to know, based on my church, based on the church that I do, we are a small church, and what are you going to do for us small people? Right.
How are you going to make sure the small churches are incorporated?
Yeah, in the assembly. I did like, because there was a lot of talk how much the assembly was costing. So that's another thing that they, people were talking about is the bishop has saying this. I don't know if they really do or not, but is, there's so many ways that you could cut costs, and it's the bishop's job to do that. And it's so that is but this is all the stuff that you hear
that people are saying, and
and I don't know those things.
Right. And I know we're getting off topic of the process that we went through there, but I think it highlights something. What are people expecting out of the bishop there with that?
Because sometimes that's part of the talk. Those are part of the questions that were given.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes I think those expectations of the bishop are set so high. It's like there's no human that can fulfill everything on there. That's why you need everyone working together. That's why there needs to be not only a staff for the bishop that they can assemble, but you need the Synod Council. You need the deans. You need just people who are in the pews each and every Sunday, all of us coming together to do the work of the Synod.
Right.
There's no one person that can do it all. So sometimes I think those expectations are just a little outlandish.
But those are some of the questions that were driven to some people. And it's like, again, I didn't even think that would be an issue. But sitting in those rooms, then you got to know a little more about each candidate. And then and again, when you got in that room, you saw now a completely different side again. And it's like, oh, well, the person that I didn't like up there, they gave that 3-minute, again, loved personality. It was the person that you always know. And it's like, why didn't you do that up on stage? Because I still know you have this agenda, so I can't go back to that.
Gotcha.
So now I got to move forward to whoever. So then my vote changed again, after all those questions.
And that's why I think we need that process, so you can get more of an idea of each candidate, who they are, what they bring to the table, and what does the Synod need right now. At that time for it. So,
and after each one, you had a break, which you kind of needed.
Just a process.
You kind of needed that break to okay, these are what those first 2 said. Let's I went out and I prayed a lot to keep my mind at where it needs to be, and to make those right decisions the whole time. And prayed for everybody who was involved too, because, like I said, I mean, your emotions play a lot of part in that, and it's yeah. So then the next set came in, had 2 more breaks. Then the next set came in.
Now the candidates weren't in there together; they were all. It was always one at a time.
Yes,
but yeah. I guess the longest one for everybody being in there was 45 minutes. It would have been, because there were 3 candidates in the one set.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it was 2, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a long time to be sitting there listening to people and trying to process all of that. So that's why those breaks were needed in there to.
Right.
Let me absorb some of this. And
now that you're regrouping and also, you're to get ready for your next set of notes too, which I think is important to take them down, because I know I couldn't do that mentally all the time. So it was interesting.
It was definitely a neat process. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after you went through the Q&A with everyone, then came the
was it lunch?
Then
we came. Do we go back to the caucus with our mission
Then it
district?
was the caucus.
Yeah, so the caucus is the meeting with your mission district.
Correct.
So you were in there for, we were in there like
minutes?
45 minutes to an hour, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah. And you had meeting of the minds. And that's where a lot of people were talking about each candidate, what they liked about the candidates and what they didn't like about the candidates. And some people had really heavy major concerns, and which is okay that you have those, but it changed people.
Yeah.
Also, like, you also see during the process too that people who are so sweet and will do anything for you, this changed them, this process.
They became very adamant.
Yeah, you see the completely different other side of them. And again, it's their passion and how they feel. And, you feel that. But some of them, it was pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Which, you have that everywhere. I think if I were in their shoes, I would have never did that, because again, it's ultimately your decision. But when you have those strong feelings, if you're not one to think on your own, you're going to go with those feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and some of the people want it to be known, because they're so passionate about it. It's almost like they're campaigning for someone, in a way, or against someone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I get it, but
you want to make sure the Spirit is a part of that process,
right?
That you're praying throughout, and that God is guiding that. That's what we're praying for throughout that entire thing. God's wisdom, God's insight.
Yeah.
Help us to get to the point where we need to be as your people, your church.
Right.
So get ourselves out of the way. And sometimes it's hard for us to get the egos out of the way when we're doing that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So after the caucus, then I don't remember the exact schedule, like where the meals fit in, but the next step would have been everyone, the whole assembly, coming together once again for the next vote. Yes.
So we're taking those 7, and we're going to take it down now to 3, the top 3.
Correct. So this was the 3rd ballot.
Yes.
Then that we have at this point. So now you've got those 7 names in front of you, and you have to circle. Who do you think is the best one?
Yep.
For this? So, and And all ballots were valid again.
Yes, all of them were valid again. Yes.
Yes, on that one, and then it came down to just the top three. And then those top three, and by that point, that was the end of the night on Friday.
Yes.
On Friday,
Yes.
It was a long, grueling day.
Was.
I'm sticking with grueling, okay? It was a long, grueling day Friday. So by Friday night, you knew who those three candidates were. That when we gathered on Saturday morning,
yep.
Then now it's going to come down to, okay, who do you want out of these three? So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
But there was also a Q&A with those three beforehand.
Yeah, so there was a Q&A then, which again was really good. And when it came down to those Q&A, it's like, all right, changed in my mind again, because what they said this time is like, oh yeah, I really like that about them.
Gotcha.
Or
and the Q&A was the entire assembly.
Yeah,
there were no more breakouts.
Nope.
Everything here on out was the entire assembly. Yeah.
No, and then I went with somebody from Dinky. We both looked at each other. We're like, seriously, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And he's like, yeah. I'm like you can't make this stuff up. It was like, and we had other people at our table.
How was that conversation?
It was good. I mean, he asked them directly, so who are you voting for? Me, I didn't. I'm just, to me, I did not do that, because it's up to them, who they want to vote for. And I did not want to feel like
pressuring them.
Yeah. Because I felt like asking them, they would be feeling more pressure. So I'm glad they didn't answer back, because they would be like, I don't know. And maybe they didn't know until it was time to take that vote.
Right.
But it was nice. But every single time we were about to vote, again, they centered us with song and then prayer. And it was just found that to be so powerful. And then that vote came, and the 3 went to 2.
Yep. So it came down to 2. And then another Q&A.
Yep.
With just those 2.
Yep.
And then came down to that final vote.
And at the end, it was many emotions.
So many emotions. What were some of those emotions you were experiencing and going through there?
I felt happy because I did like Bishop-elect D.
I guess we should share who it was that.
Oh, yeah. So it ended up being a female. Whoop, whoop.
The first ever in the history of Northeastern Pennsylvania Synod.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pastor Jennifer D. from Robisonia.
Yep. Trinity Lutheran Church. Robisonia.
Yeah. Yep. So I was happy, but I also love our current bishop. Again, you don't always agree with the things that they do, but there's a long history too with our church and with our current bishop. And
there's Christopher DeForest.
Yes.
Is the current bishop and served over at St. John's.
Yeah. And it was very sad. Yeah. It was very somber, So, I'm going to cry because I went to him and I was crying.
Aww.
And I think it's, because I hold him so dear in my heart.
Yeah.
And his family. And it felt awful for him.
Yeah.
Awful. Yeah. So it was awesome at the end, though, too, when they thanked him for everything they did, and everybody applauded him and applauded Allison and Bo. And yeah. But you could see the power it had. It was just.
Yeah. Because this will be an interesting transition for he and his family. Yeah. Yeah. Where does he go now? What does he do?
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Because people have asked me, well, what happens to a bishop that isn't reelected? And they're not of retirement age. That's all we've had. And I said, I don't know. We've never had that before. Because all we've ever had is bishops, when they leave office, it's because of retirement. That's it. So we've never experienced this. So this is new territory, new ground. But he is definitely he and his family are in my thoughts and prayers there. Yeah.
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 So it's, a lot of emotions all weekend.
Yeah.
So, but
thank you for sharing your experience there with that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was amazing. I look forward in the next 6 years, and hopefully I, will be hopefully just finishing my MDiv before deacon and looking to be ordained. Because that's, I will be looking at it probably from a totally different perspective again.
Possibly, could very well be. Yeah.
So I every year going, the last 3 years going to this, every year, like I've had more invested. And this is the reason why I need to go, because going into the ministry and who's about to lead us and what way is it all going, because, my livelihood too is at stake. And what I do could change the course of a lot of things. So, so that's what I find them very interesting. I'm glad I always go, because you have those connections and,
right. And I'm going to use that as a advertisement here for the future as well. If you have the opportunity to go to a synod assembly, as one of the delegates, I highly encourage you just to get that experience and see the wider church and be a part of that. It is really, really
neat. I mean, even prior to going, right? Because there's people who are there that, so we talked about before, like putting pastors on this pedestal, and this is what a pastor is supposed to look like, right? But when you go to those assemblies, there's so many people who are pastors you would never even think are pastors.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, and especially because a lot of them are now, they're not dressed in your clerics. Yeah. I mean, they're in regular clothing, and you're like, you're a pastor?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It shows how God is working through so many different people.
Yeah.
There is no cookie cutter pastor.
No. It just, it also just affirms, like, yeah, I can do this.
Yes.
It's just an affirmation of, oh, I'm not good enough. But it's an affirmation of, yes, I can do this.
Because again, it's not about us, it's what God is doing through us and how God is able to work through us. And that's what's most important.
Yeah. So I was, I'm a cheerleader for it. I would say you need to go.
Oh, yes.
Definitely, because it's pretty amazing.
It's powerful. It's very powerful. Yeah.
So that was on my end. So, Pastor, how about we talk about what it's like to be one of
the candidates?
Yeah.
So I was honored to be nominated on that first ballot. So I received some votes in that first ballot. And I've been having conversations with people for a couple months now, actually, that people have been saying something to me. Would you consider leaving your name on that ballot if you were nominated? So I've been spending a lot of time in prayer and having conversations with Erica, with my children, with this. Is this something I should be doing? And others that I trust and I value their insight, and just having those conversations. And so I came to the conclusion I would allow my name to continue on. So I was nominated on the first ballot, and I allowed my name to remain on there. So I received that email, that contact. You want your name removed? Do so by 8 a.m. And it remained on there. So I was one of the 11 people on that second ballot. And I was honored enough to make it to that third ballot and be on there. I was one of the 7 people to get through. I was one of the 7 there. So I got to go through that whole process of filling out the paperwork and everything. And
well, when you came back from the funeral, I saw like they grabbed you. Like,
oh yeah, boom, get in here. Yeah, now.
Yeah.
So what happened with this was, so Saturday morning, we come in there for that vote for that second ballot. And so I rush up there, not rush up there, I go up there to the assembly. And as we said, everybody was in relaxed attire mainly. So there were some people who had their clerics on, but I had mine on because I had a funeral that morning. So I get to the assembly, I vote, and boom, I'm out the door. I'm out the door and I'm going so I can come back down to Lehighton and preside at a funeral for a family. So again, my heart goes out to that family, and I wanted to be there for them and walk with them in that moment, just be present for them. Unfortunately, I could not remain for the graveside. So the funeral director covered the graveside service because right after I finished the funeral service, I had to go and head back up to the assembly for the next part of the process here with that. So as I sat in the construction, wondering if I would get there or not for that, I'm trying to process in my mind everything that was going to be taking place. So the 3-minute speech that we had to give, I'm thinking about that in my head. What are the points that I want to hit? What do I want to say? And that, and I made some phone calls on the way up there just to like talk to people, just to bring myself down a little bit. I was on the way, and I arrived there and I went in. I had no clue where I should be going or what I should be doing. And I just happened to be standing next to and having a conversation with one of the deans, and his wife was running the election process. And he calls her up. He's like, "Hey, I'm standing here with Tony." And he goes, "Oh, okay. You've got to go back there right away." And they got me back in this room and got me set up. So each candidate received a partner that was with them, a prayer partner in this process. So, Michael Haspy, the LLM, licensed lay minister, was my prayer partner, and he was absolutely wonderful. We sat there together. He prayed with me, and he was just a support for me through that process.
He's amazing.
Yep. So I was very blessed to have him there with me. And so I'm filling out paperwork and going through materials. I had to give the okay for a background check and everything else.
Didn't you have to write your bio too?
I had to write a bio, which I was rushed getting that done. So mine was pretty scant compared to others and what they had. But I'm like, I just got to get in what I can. I have to get this done, and that's it.
Yeah.
So so filled everything out there. And then they took us to the assembly where we had to give that 3-minute presentation. And this was the first time, because the 7 of us were at different tables with our prayer partners, but before that, eating and filling everything out. This was the first time we were all together backstage that I was able to interact. Maybe there was a spot before that I received, before I got there, where they were able to do so. But it was the first time for me to be able to talk with those other candidates. The nerves of everyone back there, like people just kind of rocking and pacing, like everybody was nervous about this. Like, what order are we going up there in? How are we going to do it? Because we received 2 different pieces of information on what order we'd be going up there. One was that it was going to be in order of the number of votes you received.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And that's how you would go up. The other was everybody selected letters, like sticks, more or less. So see, okay, what order are you going to go, or where are you going to be in the process of going around to the different groups for the Q&A, right? And they were very gracious, because they gave me number 7, knowing that I was at the funeral, that I would have the most amount of time to prepare myself, that I wouldn't be rushed coming in. So I thought that was a very gracious move there with that. So I'm very appreciative of that. But but what was really neat is I went to seminary with two of the people, including our bishop-elect, Jennifer D. We were at seminary together, and Mike Schultes and I were also at seminary together. So I'm talking with both of them, and we're discussing things with each other. But the collegiality that you saw between those candidates, this was not a competition back there between each other that I experienced at all. It was just a support. How do you support one another and be there? And that was really cool to see. I really appreciated that.
That's awesome.
And so we all went up to give them, and I was the last one to go on stage to give this. So after the others were up there, number 6 was up delivering his speech, and I'm standing back there by myself. I'm like, whoa. My heart rate is on my watch, and I'm seeing my heart rate just going up as I'm standing there for this. And as I walked out onto that stage, and just saw all of those people and those bright lights that are in your face when you're up there, because it was actually hard to see out. Those lights were so bright on
really
you.
Hard.
It was difficult to see out. And I turn and I see those 6 candidates sitting there in chairs, and I'm like, wow, I cannot believe I am here right now. It was like, I just preached about it on Sunday, that I just felt like I do not deserve to be in this place, especially when I can look down and there's screens in front of me, monitors in front of me, and I can see my own face on there. And I'm like, this is what people are looking at. And I'm like, this guy, really? So I was very honored, very humbled, a part of that, and just felt like I don't deserve to be up here in this place. But
but you do.
Well, and thank you. I wasn't saying it for the affirmation.
But I just want you to know that you do.
But thank you. But so I delivered that speech, which all those points that were in my head that I wanted to hit, that I was trying to organize my head, gone in that moment. I was just kind of overwhelmed by the moment that I was in there. And just felt like I kind of babbled and went through it. So when I finished it and we came down, all 7 of us in the back, I was like, well, I bombed that. That's what I was thinking in my head. But I went up to our bishop-elect at that moment right there, and I told her, I said, you did great. I said, I like you as the best of everybody, and how she presented herself and what she did. So she impressed me right there with that. So then we went to a room, a separate room, and gathered there. And that's when the assembly was splitting up into those 3 segments there. And so not all of us could be in those rooms at the same time. I mean, there's only 3 gatherings. There's 7 of us. So, there'd be a few of us sitting back there in that room one time. So we were talking with one another about that process, what we were going through and what it was like. Hey, did you go in this room yet? This is what you can expect. And just this is their approach and how they are doing it. Or the one room, the air conditioning wasn't working. So that was the hot room. Have you been to the hot room yet? That type of thing. But so it was neat to see, again, that collegiality and people, laughing together, joking with one another, and just being there for each other. And then I had my opportunity to go to those different rooms, and it was really interesting to see the styles and how people approached it. Because like that first one that I went to was they asked you those 5 questions, and that was it. You're done.
Wow.
And I looked at my watch. I'm like, I got 5 minutes yet. For people to get to know me, to have this, and I felt like, come on, give me some more here. Give me some more. It's like,
So they didn't have anybody from that was in the room ask you questions?
No. Their approach and their belief was they wanted it exactly the same for each candidate. So each person was getting the same 5 questions, and that was it. So so I was. It would have been nice to have known that going in, I guess. That way I could have been a little more prepared in my mind that, okay, I can take all the time I want for these questions.
Right. Because on their end, too, they have only so many minutes to answer each question, too.
Correct. Yes.
So like I know in our room, like they left like you have 30 seconds yet to answer your question.
Right.
So that would be why you would get done early, is because you only have a certain amount of time. And then.
And I didn't use all my time. Like I had 2.5 minutes for each question there, but I didn't use all of it. So it was, because I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to answer this directly, as succinctly as possible, and then we'll move on. But it's not. No, they did. But now so the group you were in, that was my third group. That was my last group you were with, and that's the one where they had 5 questions prepared, and then it opened up to the group there. So, but then the middle group that I had, they didn't time me.
Oh, wow.
They had no timing. They said, you take as much time as you want on each one. And, the more succinct you are in each answer, the more questions we get to ask you. So.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. So that's how they went about it. Yeah. So they took a different approach.
That has to be pretty stressful, knowing like you only have 3 minutes to answer each question. And then, especially because I know we all ask the same 5 questions, right?
Not necessarily. No.
Okay.
There was one question that was asked that I know I got in each one, but then the others varied because they had a list of 10 questions they could choose from.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, but there was one question that each group had within there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that question was, what gifts or talents do you bring to this office of bishop that you think makes you the best candidate? And I hated that question. I hated it. I thought it was so loaded. And and others I talked to as well, they're like, I don't like that. I don't like that.
You know what though? That question, you all answered pretty well the same.
Really? Okay.
Yes. I found that all 7 of you answered that. Like, I don't think I really bring a specific kind of, gift, but these are the gifts that I have.
Right. Because the way I answered it, all 3 times I answered it. Well, the first time they asked me the question, I stood there for a moment, pondered, and I said, well, that's a loaded question. I said, because right away you are assuming I think I'm the best candidate. I said, I don't know that. It's about this assembly. It's about what the Spirit is doing,
Yeah.
And God leading us to who that best candidate is. It doesn't matter what I think.
Right.
It's what the assembly thinks. I said, all I can do is just share with you, this is what I think I can bring to the table. These are the talents that I believe that I have, or maybe even the places where I are growth areas for me as well. But this is where I feel like, okay, my gifts lie here. I can do that. But yeah. And I said, and those gifts, what's really important for me is we have a bishop's election every 6 years. What's needed each election could change. Yes. What was needed 6 years ago may be different than what's needed now. With the assembly thought so. But obviously with the outcome of the election, they thought, no, we need something different now, different set of talents now with this. Right. And what could be needed 6 years from now in the future as well. It could be something different that we need. So, and I will tell you, I hated that question, but that question helped me so much too. Because it really got me to a point, and not just that question, but I think it was like the cherry on top, just to help me get to the point where this process was not about me. It was about what God was doing. And after that last ballot, I did not make it through because they only took the top 3 there.
But you did make the top 4.
I was number 4, which was so interesting.
Not too far off.
No, it wasn't too far off. But after we went through that whole process and I came to my seat for that ballot, I felt the Spirit come over me. I felt this complete sense of calm over me, like, I'm done now. I'm not going to be continuing on. I'm going to be finished here. I'm not going to make it through. And I was okay with that because I felt like God had me in the place where I needed to be for that process to that point where I needed to get. And it wasn't that I had to beat out the others or get in there. I didn't have to have the accolades or anything else. It was just, no, God used me where I needed to be, or maybe God was even helping me in some way through that as well. That I got out of it what I needed as well, being a part of that process, because it was really cool to be a part of it. It was stressful, extremely stressful, but I'm so glad that I had that experience to do it.
Yeah.
But as I sat there, I'm like, I'm going to be done now. I'm not going to make those top 3, but I'm going to be close. I'm going to be 4th. So I knew it in my head before they even put it on up there that I was going to be the 4th one on there. It was so, yeah, it was really awe. I was in awe, I guess that's what I can say.
And for me and Rich, we were like, we don't got to find a pastor.
Oh,
that was us. But I mean, but again, I didn't even think that. And again, I love you. I put you on that pedestal, and I do not think that you would run for it or anything because of what you're so involved in here and stuff like that. So when I saw your name up there, like it took me like oh my gosh, like wow, we can lose him.
Aw.
You know what I mean? So and then when that vote came, again, that emotion of I wish I could just take you and hug you and say, I'm happy that you aren't, but I'm also very sorry.
Yeah.
Because that was mixed emotions there too.
Yeah. Erica was watching from at home.
Really?
And in real time there, she was watching everything taking place. And as soon as the vote was put up there, I received a text from her like immediately. I'm so sorry, honey. You know what I mean? She texted me that, but I was really okay. I was like, people were coming up to me and hugging me like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I truly am good, because I felt God's presence there. Mm-hmm. And I felt like God has put me where I need to be, down here with these 2 congregations in this Lehighton area. And I felt re-inspired for my ministry and what I was doing. Like I drove home and I was like, like really excited. I felt good. I felt good about where I was at. And because God is so good, yes. God even gave me a sign that night. I felt what I took as a sign for it, that I am where I need to be. Okay. Because, I love being with the people in the congregation, being involved in the community, and I say getting my hands dirty, but really getting into it and just being a pastor of the community. When I came home that night, I turned in a road near house, right? I turned in the road and there was a car parked on the side of the road. And as I'm going by, I saw there were people standing next to the car, and it was just in an awkward spot where it was at. And I saw they were teenagers standing by it. And I'm like, I can't just drive by. I got to check on them, right? So I stop, I back up. I'm like, are you okay? You're like, yeah. You could hear like a hesitancy in the voice when they said it, right? But then I look and I recognized the one. I'm like, hey, is that so-and-so? And they look back and they go, Coach Tony? Because I coached a person in track, right? And I'm like, yeah. I said, hold on. And I back my truck up behind him so the headlights are shining on the car, right? And I get out. I said, what's going on? Oh, the car's making noise, and they were afraid to drive it because they didn't know what it was. And so I recognized a few of the kids that were there and just saying hi to them. I said, all right, so what's it doing? And they told me what it was doing, like the noise it was making. And I'm like, I'm sure I know exactly what this is. I said, so do me a favor. I said, if you get in the car and you roll it forward, am I going to hear this? They said, yeah. Said, all right, go ahead. So he gets in the car, he rolls up. I said, all right, come on back. I said, yeah, it's your little brake indicator. They had heard a squealing, and on your rotor, there's a little indicator on there that squeals to let you know that, hey, your brakes are getting close. And that I said, that's all it is. It is your brake indicator, because we're shining the light in the rotor. I'm like, yeah, nothing's digging in. I said, you're safe. You can go home. I said, but get those brakes fixed soon. So, don't wait on it. They're like, oh, all right, thanks, that type of thing. And the athlete that I coach goes, oh man, coach, because I said something about how my dad owns a garage, and I grew up there with it. He goes, Coach, man, you're a jack of all trades. And I said, and a master of none. All right. So, yeah. So, but they were able to get in their car and they went home, and it was like, thank you, God. This is where I need to be, in this place, ministering to the people here in whatever fashion is needed, and just loving and sharing God's love with the people here. So I am, I am excited about ministry here, and I am just overflowing with joy right now, like even in this moment here, about the ministry that we're sharing here. And so I'm in a great place. So.
Yeah. And it's awesome when you get that affirmation of, this is what I am supposed to be doing.
Yes.
From him. It's like, yes, that this is it. Mm-hmm. So powerful.
Right. Yeah. So, somehow, I mean, I also felt that spirit at work for me to be a part of that process. I don't necessarily know what my role was in all of that. Was God doing it for me to be re-inspired here? Or was that just another aspect of that? I'm not sure. But I felt like, God was doing something with me in that moment. And, And, I'm happy to be God's instrument for whatever God needs there for it. So,
pretty amazing.
It is so cool. So, So thank you for the opportunity to share that, because it has me so excited and filled with the Spirit right now that I feel like I have to be sharing it as much as I can.
So, and that makes it much happier, I think, about our podcast.
I've gotten over the initial nerves. I'm okay now. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, yes. Yeah. No.
So, but so that was my experience with the Synod Assembly.
My experience with the Synod Assembly, it has a lot of emotions. Yeah,
it's neat to see God at work, not only on the individual or congregational level, but also on the synodical level, and knowing that God is at work even on a church-wide level and global level as well. Yeah. So that's it's neat.
Very pretty impactful.
Very powerful. Yeah, very impactful. So, well, thank you, Kim.
Well, thank you, Pastor Tony. It was fun. I hope you guys could keep continuing loving our podcast. Yeah. Again, if you have any questions that you want us to talk about or anything special, you can send those questions to hopefulpod@gmail.com. Again, hopefulpod@gmail.com.
Sounds great.
All right.
Until next time.
Yeah, until next time.
Yes, God's grace and peace to you.
Bye-bye, everybody.